Selenium. Selenium is there. That is the reason. Someone share the link in group, no? So when to use online? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Order.
So just like the way I've told in yesterday's class, if at all, if at any point of time exception occurs, there are how many options? 3 options. Based on the scenario, you can choose anyone. Getting my point? Which are all those scenarios is the question. Which are those scenarios? Any idea? I mean to say, when to choose which one? It is not main method only. If there is add method, then whichever method be it. Okay, it does not mean that only main method should be there. Does it? Have I ever told you that only main method should be there? Be it any method. Okay. If at all, if there is a connection, very first thing that you should do is you should handle the exception. Else, what will happen? Connection will not be terminated. That is your first way using your try and catch. Screen is visible. First way is using try and catch. Which is that for? Whenever there is a connection in a method, then you should handle it. If you don't handle, what will happen? Connection will not be terminated. Second thing, rethrowing an exception. When to use rethrowing an exception? Main, not the main method. Whenever we want to inform the caller method that in fun1 or in whichever method exception occurred, then we will make use of throw. If you are making use of throw, is it mandatory that you should make use of throws? Not mandatory, but however, you should give a information for a caller. Okay, if there is some caller, you should pass the information that if you call this method, there might be a chances of exception. Getting my point? Yes. And finally, I believe all of you understood. If you are using throw keyword, what is the issue? Below that, whatever statements are there, that will not get executed. Even when you are throwing an exception, but still there will be some critical statements which you should execute. Then what we will do? We should write those statements inside finally block. That is all about your finally. Again, it is rethrowing. It is not just throwing. Rethrowing means what? First you handle it and then you throw it. Getting my point? And ducking an exception. What do you mean by ducking an exception, or when to choose ducking an exception? For that, we will see one program. And if you want to see the diagram here, this is for your in fun3. If you can observe, there is connection to established, connection to terminated. Okay. Is there any connection in your main method? Is there any connection in your main method? No. So what I'll do here, I'll handle it. But my question is your main method aware of exception that occurred in fun3? No. So what I should do? As of now, my point is here connection is there, I should handle. Means I should close it properly. So what I'll do, I'll just handle it. But in later scenario, here anyways exception occurred, but I want to pass that exception information to my caller method. Caller method. Okay. So whenever I'm passing that to caller method, what will happen? How to pass it? By making use of throw keyword. If I use throw keyword, what will happen? Exception object will be thrown to the caller method. Once it comes to caller method, here in this scenario, I'm asking, is it required to handle anyways? Now this object will, here I'm not going to show that. In next one I'll show. However, in this scenario, this exception object, whatever is there, it came here, you assume. Okay, it came here, means I have thrown it, you assume. Is it required for me to handle it here? Why? There is no connection here. Okay, if it goes to default exception handler also, what is my problem? I don't have any problem. Yes or no? Why I don't have any problem? Because there is no connection here. In main method, is there any connection? No. But in next scenario, imagine here, this example, whatever I have explained, why it is important to throw. This is all about rethrowing. Now here exception occurred. Okay. Now I will throw it because I want to pass that information to caller method. Now that exception has been thrown to here. Exception came here. Okay. Now once it came to your caller method, that is your main method, you think and tell me, is it required for me to handle or not? Yes, it is required to be handled. Why? Because connection exists. If you don't handle it, what will happen? Again, this also will go to RTS. From RTS, it will go to default exception handler. If it goes to default exception handler, what is the issue? Connection will not be terminated. Okay. So this is all about your throwing, rethrowing an exception. Next is ducking an exception. Okay. Now, how exactly your ducking an exception will work? Just listen. Though I have not explained the program, I'll just tell you here. Now I have written a program in main method, some calling fun3. Inside main method, what I will write? I will just call fun3. Inside fun3, what I will write? Division. Same old division program I'll write. Whenever I'm writing a program here, user will give the denominator as 0, you assume. Getting my point? User will give the denominator as 0. Now what will happen? Sorry, exception occurred. Now you think and tell me which option I should choose. Should I handle it? Should I handle it or not? Where exception occurred? In fun3. Now my question is, should I handle that exception in fun3 or not? See the diagram, no? You will get a picture. Is it required for me to handle that? Why? Because there is no any such connections over there. So it is not required for me to handle. I'll duck it. Duck it means, does it mean that you should use that keyword called duck? Nothing as such. Don't do anything. Just leave it. If I leave it from here, then where it will go by default? It will go to RTS first. RTS will check, is there any user defined exception handler here? Have I given? No. So where it will go? It will go to caller method. Now caller method is main method. But here, it came from here to here. But did I throw that? No. It came by itself in such a user defined exception handler. Getting my point? Is it required to handle it here or not? Why? There is a connection establishment as well as termination. Getting my point? Yes or no? It does not mean that in interview you should, again, ducking means what? Ducking means I'll not do anything. Have you heard of this term called ducking anywhere? Cricket? Yes. Ducking means what? Matlab, if at all, if there is a bowler who is bowling at very high speed, okay, and you will feel that I cannot face it, then what you will do? You will just leave it. If you leave it, where it will go? Wherever it goes, how will it matter to us? Why? Because that is not my duty. Yes or no? And when I should take care of it, here if at all, if there was a connection, you assume, then definitely I should have handled it or rethrow it or something I should do. But is there any connection here? No, connection is present only in main method. Getting my point? So what I'll do here, I'll not do anything. I'll just write one signature. I mean to say, in signature, I'll just try to write what? Signature means what? First thing. Wherever your method name will be there, input will be there, and output will be there. That we call it as signature. In front of method name and input, what you should write? You just have to say that. If you call this method, there might be a chances of occurring, exception may occur, may or may not be. It all depends on user. And if it occurs also, will I handle it? Will I means whom? Fun3. Will Fun3 handle it? No. Why? Connection is not there, not needed. Yes or no? So whenever I say connection here, if you go to interview, please don't use that as, sir, connection is there, then I should handle. Connection is not there, then I should not handle. Getting my point? Then how to say it? Because interviewer don't know what is that connection. So what we should say then? If there are any critical statements which may lead to data breach or any security protocols breaking, violation, then what you should do? You should handle it. Getting my point? Assume that there is some statement like connection termination, you assume. Okay. If you don't do it, hacker may hack it. Then don't you think it became critical statement here? You should handle in that case. Getting my point? But now, if I have to modify the same program, how will I modify? Assume that here, I don't want this one. Okay. Think and tell me. Okay, here one bracket was supposed to be there. Now, if I write this much, you think and tell me, is it required for me to handle it here? Is it required for me to handle the exception here?
No, sir.
Why no?
Because there is no connection. No
Is there
critical
any connection existing here? No. Then I need not handle it. Assume that if connection is there, then I should handle. In that case, I will go with option 1. What is that option 1? Handle the exception. Getting my point? Assume that here exception occurred. Connection is also there. Okay. And I want to pass the information to caller method. Then what I'll do? Go with second option, that is rethrowing an exception. Handle it and then throw it. Getting my point? Yes, no. So here I need not handle it. What I'll do, I'll just leave it. But however, here I know that if you look at this program, I'll feel that there is a chances of exception. However, I don't want to handle. Why? Connection is not there. But however, others who is going to call this method, don't you think they will get affected? So what I should do? I'll just pass the information. This may throw exception. Yes. Clear? Clear or not? Here, why I'm not handling? The reason is connection is not there. As simple as that. Now I told that throws exception. Okay. Now from here, assume that connection 1 is there. Try and catch is not there. Okay, is not there, you assume. Now I will call d1.fun1. Control will come here. First time user will give valid input. No issues. It will work properly. Go back. Connection termination. Done. Now from there I will call second user. 100, 0. Exception will occur. Yes or no? What will happen with exception? Have I given any user-defined exception handler here? No. So where the control will go? The exception object will go to caller method. Means below the hierarchy. In your stack segment, below the hierarchy, it will go. Now it comes to here. Next word. There, you should check, is there any connection here? If connection is it there? Yes. If it is there, then what I should do? I should handle that exception. I can't leave it. Clear with the point? Any doubt? So this is your ducking the exception. For ducking the exception, there is no separate keyword or something. It is just a process that you should know when to go with handling, when to go with rethrowing, when to go with ducking the exception. Clear? Yes or no? As I've already told, yesterday's example, smoking example, whatever I've considered, I'll consider the same example. On that, is it something like whoever is smoking, will they die? Or will they get cancer? No, there might be a chances. Okay. But what I am doing from my side, I should pass the information. Be careful with this. If you smoke, you may get. Getting my point? But do I have to go and tell to each and every person, please do, if you smoke, you will get cancer. If you smoke, you will get cancer like that? No. Whether they are smoking, they have the smoking habit or not, you leave. Should I go to each one person and say that? Not needed. Yes or no? In a similar way, here I need not handle it. Means what? Here, if you call this method, there is no connection. Ultimately, even if exception occurs also, I don't care. Why I don't care? Connection is not there. But however, but for others it will affect, right? Yes or no? It will affect other people. So what I'm going to do, here at top, I will write this one. Now, assume that from here, I want to call that method. From here, another developer will come. He wants to call that particular method. What he will see? He will see the signature. Looking at the signature, what will he understand? It may throw an exception. Am I right? By looking at the signature itself, we will understand it may throw an exception. And here, for this developer, is there a connection here? Yes. Then don't you think if exception occurs there, there is no problem for that method? Will there be any problem? No. But if exception occurs there and you are calling it from here and it came back to here and you don't handle it, don't you think it will be a problem? Why? Connection exists here. Whatever came from there to here you should handle it. You should be careful with that. If you don't handle, it will go to default exception handler and abrupt termination will happen. Getting my point? Anyways, abrupt termination will happen, but however, at least those critical statements, okay, should be taken care of. Clear with the point? Online?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt till now? Next what? Any idea? If I'm not wrong, it is hierarchy of exception, right? I mean, no, directly. No. Next what? See here, this is all about your ducking and exception. Okay. Next, rethrowing an exception, definition it is. Ducking an exception refers to the process of passing the exception object to other methods without handling it. Did I handle it there? No, without handling, I'll just leave it. It will by default go to caller method. Why I am not going to handle it? Because there is no connection over there. Here. Next, this one. It came here. You remember that? I think I've already shown this. Yes. What is this all about? When I will get this? Okay, I'll show it here itself. Okay. Demo you leave. Owner you assume. Okay, owner is inbuilt. O equals to new. Owner. And then O dot display I'm calling. If I'm calling this method, definitely the class should be there first. Yes. Which class? So here class owner. Inside this void display. Have I written anything inside this as of now? No. I will write now. What I will write? I will call same old display method. Now what will happen? Control from line number 15, okay, came to line number 5, because of which one activation record got created. As that activation record will be on top, what will happen? The control will enter inside the method. Coming inside, what I have written? I call display method only. Yes. From line number 7, where it will go? Line number 5. From line number 5, one activation record that will be on top. The control will come inside. Where it will come? 7. From line number 7, line number 5. 5 to 7, 5 to 7, 5 to 7. It will keep on looping and it will keep on creating the what?
Activation
It will
record.
keep on creating the activation records. Where it will create? On stack segment only. I believe all of you still remember what all will be present in which all segments. Yes. In your code segment or method segment, what will be there? The entire program will be there. And what will be present in your stack segment? Activation records. Then all the methods fine. Then local variables. Then
JVM.
reference variables. Reference variables, where it will be stored? Object will be created on each segment, but reference stack. Inside stack, inside respective activation records. Okay, next what? Heap segment, object and instance variables. And what about static segment? All the static elements, nothing but static variables, static blocks, static methods. I believe this much at least, if anyone asks, you are clear. Yes. So because of which now you will get what? This is what? What type of, is it an exception or an error? This one, whatever program I have shown now.
Exception, sir.
You think and tell me, is there any input I am giving? When can you declare or when can you decide if it is an exception or not? When there is some input going on, either from anywhere, either from somewhere you are giving, or you yourself you are giving, or as a programmer you are giving, wherever you are giving. Okay. Ultimately, if there is some input going on, then I can tell that it is an exception. Based on input, if there is some abrupt termination happening, then you can call it as exception. What is this one? Don't you think it is logical mistake? Whose mistake this is? Our means user or programmer? There is a big difference. Okay, don't you think it is a programmer's mistake? In the beginning itself, very beginning, very first day of exception class itself, I have told you what is the difference between compile time error, runtime error, and exception. Is this an exception or error? 100% this is an error. Again, in error, two types: compile time or runtime. If you have doubt, see this. I will compile it. Any error? When you compile it, there won't be any error. But if I try to execute it, it will keep on going. It will keep on continuing. Getting my point? So this, we call it as what? If you want to see, here itself you can see at the top, stack overflow error. So what is the difference between exception and error? I mean, runtime error only you assume. What is the difference? That is definition. That is definition. There should be some difference, right? Exceptions are mistake done by users. That is true. So we can handle it as a programmer. If there is an exception which can be handled, but can we handle the error? If you have doubt, normally how we used to handle it? Try catch block. So now we assume wherever I'm calling it, I'll write try, and I'll try to call this inside try here. Next here, Okay, save it, compile it. Any errors? No, anyways, previously also we were not getting any compile time error. Now I'll try to run it. Still it is the same. Go to the top, if you can see. Means what? Will we be able to handle your runtime error? Never. Can you handle an exception? Yes. Exception also occurs in compile time. Huh? Exception occurs in runtime only. Even your runtime error also occurs in runtime only. But the difference is that exception can be handled, whereas error cannot be handled because it is a logical mistake done by you yourself. But however, exception is something like because of some input it is breaking. Yes or no? Program is getting broken because of input. Okay. So based on that, you can give one message saying that you are giving invalid input. Please check. But for logical, what you will do? You should have checked it. So it can never be handled. Getting my point? For that matter, what is the hierarchy? In runtime error, there are two types. One is stack overflow error. The other one is out of memory error. Okay. Stack overflow error, somehow I will be able to show it. Can I show out of memory error? If I want to show you out of memory error program also, then first my memory should be full. Laptop memory. Just to, run one program and showcase the, output, should I fill my laptop with unnecessary things? It does not make sense, so I cannot show it. So if you want to see, here, exception, that is anyways, definition first, it will come. Then they cannot be managed by try and catch. They can be managed using try and catch. Can you see that? Example is here, stack overflow error. Whereas this one, input mismatch exception. Yes. Okay. So anyways, the other one is what? Out of memory error. These two are which type of error? Runtime error. These two are exceptions. Okay. Both the exception we have already seen. Input mismatch exception also we have seen, as well as negative array size exception also we have seen. Here, let me display it completely. There should be something wrong here. Just a minute, let me check. Just a minute. Sorry. Okay. So now we can see all those exceptions, whatever we have seen till now, comes under which one? Comes under unchecked. So there are something called as checked exception also. Anyways, error you already know, exception you already know. This is hierarchy. Okay, just like object is the parent for every classes. Even exception is also one class only. Of course, it is a parent, that is true. But that is also one class only. How will we start exception? Capital letter. If you remember, here if you can see, array index out of bounds exception. How we are writing it? Array, A capital, index, I capital, out, O capital, off, O capital, bounds, B capital, exception, E capital. Camel convention, you remember? Very first class of this batch what I have taken. That was all related to camel convention. Means starting should be with capital letter and every word's first letter should be capital. That is what you mean by your camel convention. Am I right? Same thing here. And if you, as I've already told in the beginning itself, I told you, If it is your own class, user-defined class, then you can create however you want. It will work. But here, arithmetic exception. Can you start with A small? It will never work also. It will come in which color? If I start with A, small letter, in which color it will come? Black color it will come. Okay, but I want it to be red color. It is supposed to be red color. Why? Because it is a inbuilt class. Now comes the question, sir, what do you mean by unchecked exception and what do you mean by checked exception? Okay, for exception and error, throwable will be parent and above throwable, object will be parent. Okay, so next, my question is, what do you mean by unchecked exception and what do you mean by checked exception? What? Huh. If I ask you to show one program, can you do it? Okay. But anyways, by looking at the category, we can decide it. All those whatever we have seen till now, that is coming under unchecked. That by looking at the PPT, we can tell. उसके अलावा ठीक है, बस वही एक एग्जांपल एक है. So for checked exception, if you want to see, I'll show that. However, if I have to give one simple example for you to remember, sir, unchecked and checked, it is quite difficult to remember or difficult to understand. One simple example I'll start and then I'll come back to the topic. Okay. What is that if you ask me? In your childhood, okay, your parents would have taken you to hospital after some days of, your birth, and they would have asked nurse or whoever to give polio drops. Why? Why? So that you should not be affected with polio in future. Is there any case wherein they will wait until you get affected and then they will give polio drops? Before itself they will give so that you will not be affected in future. Yes or no? There is another case. Nowadays in Bangalore, if I consider when it will rain, when it will not rain, God knows. Yes or no? Assume that you are traveling. You are going to travel in rain, assume. Will you take the tablet before getting the fever? No. When you will take? Once you get wet in rain, once after you play, once you get fever, then you will take the tablet. Yes or no? Yes or no? Means there is some scenario wherein after you get the problem, you will take the solution. You will go with solution. But few other cases will be like, if it affects, it will affect very badly in future. For those cases, now itself, as a precaution, we will ensure the solution. Getting my point? After facing the problem, taking the solution is different, and before even encountering the problem, making precautionary measures or prevention is better option, I believe. Yes. In a similar way, here there are two. Okay. What do you mean by unchecked? Unchecked is which type of example? In that two examples, which one it is? Fever. If you observe, after getting the exception, we used to handle it. Yes or no? We used to get the exception, then only we will get to know that. Yes or no? Means compiler will allow you. You go ahead. You run the program. You give the wrong input, right input. Once you get the exception, what if user is giving right input only? Then exception won't be there. Then is it required to handle? No. But if I get exception, means user is giving wrong input. If I get exception, then I should handle it. Yes or no? But what do you mean by check? Which example? Polio drops means what? Your compiler will inform you. In future, you may get affected with the polio. So now itself you take the polio drops. Your compiler will inform you. Means how to relate with technical example if you ask me. your compiler will inform you if you want to proceed ahead. There is a chances that in future you may get an exception, so you should handle it now itself. Else, I will not allow you to proceed ahead. Getting my point? Yes or no? If you want to see the example, see, checked exception means what? Until and unless you handle it, compiler will not allow you to proceed ahead. Until and unless you handle, compiler will not allow you. Compiler, I'm speaking. Okay, compiler will not allow you to proceed ahead. That is all about your checked exception. Unchecked exception is one such exception wherein compiler will leave you. You go, you do whatever you want. Once you get the exception, you should handle it. Okay. So if you want to see the example, one simple program we will write, which you don't know as of now. Okay. As of now, you don't know it. I am only telling myself, but just listen. Some of you don't know, not everyone. Println, I'll say Naveen. Getting my point? As told, Naveen. Now I want to print this for 5 times. How can I print it? Yes. If I write this much, will it work or not? Yes. Now, my point is, anyways, it will work. For sure, no errors. It will give the output also Naveen, 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 Naveen for 5 times. But however, my point is that, see here, I got the output. Now my point is that I want to print it with 5 seconds delay. Means first time I will print Naveen and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. Again I should print Naveen second time. Again after that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. And then again I should print Naveen. Like that with 5 seconds delay I want to print something. For that what I will use here is, what type of method your sleep is? I'm not asking what is the duty of that sleep method. What type of method I'm asking? Static method. If you static method, you remember, right? How we will access static method? Directly by using class name. If you observe, thread is one class, that to inbuilt class. I'm saying dot sleep. And what is this 5000? If you want to wait for 1 second, then you should write 1000 there, because 1 second equal to 1000 milliseconds. So 1000 means 1 second. 5000 means 5 seconds. Now you observe, I'll save, compile it. Can you see here? Did I run it? What did I do? I just compiled it. Compiler is not allowing me to proceed ahead. Directly it is saying here, it must be caught or declared to be thrown. When I should catch it? Do I have to catch it here? Just now exception concept is going on and you are not answering. Should I catch the exception here? There is one exception here. Should I catch it? They are telling that either you should catch the exception or you should tell that it is going to be thrown somewhere. You should inform. Okay, should I catch it? Yes or no? 3 cases. First one, second one, or third one? Which one I should choose for? Needed. Where you will throw? Why should you throw? Thinking is needed. Much required. Think. Do I have to handle it? When I should handle? When there is a connection in that. When should I rethrow it? Whenever I want to pass the information, exception information to someone else, means caller method. In this case, do I have to do any of these 2 things? Is there a connection here? Do I have to handle? No, first one is eliminated. Second option, rethrowing. Do I have to pass this information to someone? No, I just want my program to work. I don't care about connection. I don't want to pass information to anyone. I just want this to work. In that case, simple example for ducking the exception. Okay, this is one such example for ducking the exception. I don't care, whatever happens, happens. If exception is there, it is there. Why it is saying like this, if you ask me? Interrupted exception means what? Whenever you are trying to use one thread, that is what is the issue. If I speak about thread now, question comes is, what do you mean by thread? Okay. However, as of now, just assume to execute each one of the program, there will be one thread. Okay. So while that thread is executing my program, all of a sudden, some other thread will kill this thread. Then, or this thread will get killed by itself. There is a time limit for one thread, you assume. That thread got killed by itself. Then, getting my point? Or otherwise, for the same thread, I will assign some other task which is of more priority. Then it will leave this task. Who will continue this task then? Getting my point or not? At that point of time, exception will occur. But will I handle it? No, I don't want to handle. Anyways, connection is not there. If exception occurs, occurs. I don't care. So what I should do? Here, you just have to say throws exception. This much you write. Prayag, yesterday's doubt. Same doubt it was, right? Can we use throws keyword without using throw keyword? Yes. In ducking the exception, that is what we will do. Yes or no? Here, do I have to handle? No. Do I have to rethrow? No. I want to duck it. Duck it means what? I don't care. You do whatever you want. Let it happen. Whatever is going to happen, let it happen, because there is no any such security breach that is going to happen, or any such things which I should care. Okay, if connection is there, I should care. Yes or no? But any of those things, is it there? Now you see, compile it. There should not be any error. Clear? If I run it also, I'll get the output as well. Got it or not? Any doubt? Okay. What do you mean by checked exceptions now? Okay, checked exceptions definitions have not. Definitions I should have given here. I have not given it. However, what do you mean by checked exceptions? Checked exceptions are those exceptions wherein compiler will force you to handle before proceeding ahead. It will force you. Until and unless you handle, you can't proceed ahead. Whenever I say manage the exception or handle the exception, what does it mean? Any of those three options. First one you should use, or second one, or third one. Any one you should use. Then only you can proceed ahead. Clear with the point? Okay. So unchecked, wherein compiler will not force you to handle before proceeding ahead. It will allow you to proceed ahead, go ahead. Once you encounter the exception, you should come back and you should handle it. As simple as that. So next what, sir? If you ask me, next what? Just like I have told you, the concept of rules of overridden methods. All of you remember rules of overridden methods? Yes, no. Yes or no, at least quickly. All of you remember rules of overridden methods? If that is a yes, why we need to follow this rules of, why exactly we should learn overridden methods rules? Why? Is it only for interview purpose? Even once you get into company, once you start working, there might be a chances that already someone else have developed one parent class and you want to override it. While overriding, can you change the visibility? You can increase, but you cannot decrease. Second one, can you change the return type? Until and unless there is No is a relationship, you can't change it. If there is a relationship between return type, then you can change it. If you remember, tiger and animal I have taken. Okay, and I've created is a relationship. In a similar way, these rules are not such rules which will be asked only in your interview. Getting my point? It will be helpful for your work also. In a similar way, in exception also there is one such concept, that is Lisco substitution principle, or we call it as LSP rules. What exactly it says? If you ask me, assume that here there is one parent class, hoping that or assuming that it is demo1, and inside this void display method is there, which is throwing. Okay, I mean I will write throws, which is giving an information that it will throw arithmetic exception. It is giving an information, means it is ducking it. Okay, now comes your what? Child class, which is demo2. Here also same method will be there, that is void display. Now my question is, what I should write here? What should I write here? Nothing. Will it work? As I've already told, there are definitely certain rules that should be followed. What are those rules if you ask me? Very first thing is here, if you want, you can throw arithmetic exception, or what? Or just you can write means what? If there is a method in a parent class which is throwing any exception, it is not compulsory for an child class to, or overridden method in child class to throw the same exception. If you want, you can throw the exception. If you don't want, you can leave it on. Because assume that in parent class, this class is developed by me. You will come later, you will come after some 5-6 years, you will join and you will create this class. And you want to override this method from here. You will override it easily. But however, can you change the signature or not? Very important. Getting my point? All these days in overridden methods, what we learned? We learned this part. Means behind the method name, whatever is there, that is your return type and your access modifier. That we learned. But this side, we didn't learn. Now, here we will learn that part. Getting my point? That is all about your first rule. Okay, I will anyways execution part I will show, but as of now, just see this. Anyways, first I'll do at least two. I'll execute and then I'll come back. Okay. Next. First one is what? If you want, you can try. If you don't want, you cannot. You can leave it. Getting my point? But assume that here there is arithmetic exception. And here I want to, I will write a program in such a way. I'll try to write array index out of means what? This is one more scenario. Okay. You have overridden a method. Means you override a method. After overriding a method, here you want to change it. Means you will try to write such code in, you will try to write a code in such a way wherein it will try to throw array index out of bounds exception. Will it work or not? If there is a method in parent class, okay, and if there is an overridden method in child class, sorry, if there is a method in parent class which is throwing one type of exception, and if there is an overridden method in child class which is throwing another type of exception, is it permitted? Answer is no. Can we throw it? No. Just like the way we have told an overridden methods, third rule. Second rule, what it was? Can we change the return type? No. We can change. What is the third rule? We can change, provided there should be a relationship between what? Wow. Between return types. Should there be a relationship between demo 1 and demo 2? There should be a relationship between return types. If you remember, void and int I have written. Was there any relationship between void and int? No. Getting my point? Here also same thing. Can we have, if there is a method in parent class which is throwing one type of exception, and if that method in overridden method in child class is throwing another type of exception, is it permitted? No, it is not permitted. That is your second rule. Getting my point? When it is permitted, that is your third rule. It is permitted. When it is permitted? It is permitted if at all. If there is. Here I will directly say exception. If there is a method in parent class which is throwing one type of exception, and if there is an overridden method in child class which is throwing another type of exception, is it permitted? Normally, if I ask you, it is not permitted. But is there any way I can make it? Can I make it different? Yes, you can make it different, provided there should be a relationship between those exceptions, not class. Sir, here in between class demo 1, demo 2, there is either relationship. No, I'm not speaking about that is a relationship. I'm speaking about this one and this one. Is there any easier relationship between arithmetic exception and exception or not? It is there, because exception is the parent of arithmetic exception. Getting my point? Yes, no. Next word, sir. First rule is what? Is it compulsory for an overridden method to throw same type of exception? No. If you want, you can, or if you don't want, you can leave. But can I make it different? No. Every time, yes, yes, yes. At least you put the condition, no? Yes, it is permitted. If at all, there should be a relationship. No condition also, no nothing. Yes, directly. Then I will write here arithmetic exception, here array index out of bounds exception. Will it work? Then. So, second rule is what? Can we have different types of exception being thrown there? No. There is a chances. No, sir, I want to make it different. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. If at all there is a relationship between what? Exception that is being thrown. Getting my point? Yes, no. Fourth one, what is it? Batao. एक्सेप्शन वही तो ये है जो तुम बोल रहे हो, वही है. रन टाइम एक्सेप्शन नहीं लिखना जरूरी नहीं है. एक्सेप्शन भी आता है पेरेंट क्लास. बस पेरेंट होना चाहिए, पेरेंट और चाइल्ड रिलेशनशिप होना चाहिए, तब ये काम करेगा. फोर्थ रूल. Now I have one more doubt. FS22. Can I write here as no? Which is that I'm not asking. Can I write or not? I'm asking. Sure. Why? Here. In parent class, if it is throwing one type of exception, and in child class, if it is throwing another type of exception, is it permitted? That too, here I am throwing which one? Unchecked exception, and here you are throwing checked exception, which is not permitted. Getting my point? So same thing if I have to show. You guys, will you try this, or you want me to execute it and show? Anyways, executing will not take much time. I just want to create one class, one method, second class, second method is a relationship. In that only I can show all four. Okay, just observe here. First one, if a method in parent class throws an exception, then it is not compulsory for the overridden method in child class also to throw the same exception. So what is the option? Here, it is like this. If you want, you can do this one or you can do this one. Getting my point? Whatever I have written in the beginning, same thing. If a method in parent class throws one type of exception and overridden method in child class throws another type of exception, then it is not permitted, like this. Okay, here I have taken this example. Diagram became wrong, I believe. Okay, then it is not permitted. Third one, if a method in parent class throws one type of exception and overridden method throws another type of exception, it is still permitted if there is a relationship between those exception type. Okay, then I should go, okay, this one, and then I should go back here. If a method in parent class throws one type of exception and a overridden method in child class throws one more type of exception, even if either relationship does not exist, still it is permitted if the exceptions are of type unchecked. Getting my point? Yes, no. Sorry, previously I have taken one example in between for second rule. I have taken here array index out of counts. That I should not have taken. If it is checked and unchecked, it will not work. But if it is of same type, unchecked only, then it will work. Okay, let us just see it. Shit. Visible? Now what I need? Class, simply I'll write tenant. Your owner is nothing but your demo 1. Your tenant is nothing but your demo 2. Means in diagram, whatever I have written, same thing I'm trying to correlate. Got the point? Here, what I should write? Owner, void, display. What type of method this display is? Sorry? What type of method your display is? Overridden method. Simple one. Okay. So next what? Here I'll just try to say throws arithmetic exception. Okay. Here I'll not try to write anything. Will it work? It should work. Is there any error? Will it print anything if I run it? Because there is no print statement only. Okay. Next. If I remove this also, will it work? Sorry. If you want, you can throw the same exception here, or if you don't want, you can just leave it. Okay. But it is not compulsory. Still it is working. Got it? Yes, no. Next what? Here I'll try to take arithmetic exception, and here I'll try to take SQL exception. If you can observe, SQL all in capital. S is capital, QL I will write small sir. No, SQL one single word. SQL all should be in capital. If I try to write small, got it? So now you compile it immediately. I'll get cannot find symbol. Cannot find symbol is because of not that one. However, here if we try to change it, will it work? Will it work? As of now, it will not work, but it will work in two cases. Which are those two cases? If there is a relationship, and also if both the exception type are of unchecked. Just a minute. Sorry, here I should make it. Clear? If there is a relationship, then it will work. Again, the parent should be in actual parent class. Exception parent should be in parent class. Okay. So next, last one it is, if both are of type unchecked exception, then will it work or not? Yes, it will work. There should not be any problem. Okay, first one is what? It is not compulsory for an overridden method to throw the same type of exception. That is first one. Second one is the second one. I think I have told somewhere something else. We cannot throw. I mean, in parent class, one type of exception. In child class, another type of exception is not permitted. Sir, I want to throw different types of exceptions. Sir, is there any way? Yes, it is there, but there are two more rules. What is it? There should be easier relationship between parent and child. I mean, exceptions, whatever you are throwing, and also in parent class only you should mention parent type exception. Getting my point? And then if both are of type unchecked exception, then it will still work. Is that clear? Checked, it will not work. No. Online?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Till here, any doubt? Any doubt still now? I am asking again. If you have doubt, ask me. Because later I don't want to listen. Anyways, if you keep saying, you keep saying. It does not bother me. Like, sir, I didn't get a chance to ask. I'm giving chance. If you're not asking, that is altogether your mistake. As simple as that. But if there is any doubt, you can ask. Is there any doubt? Yes, no. Perfect. Others? No? Okay. So next, what if you ask me? Next is, I have one doubt. Okay. I have one doubt. What is that doubt? I will tell you. For that, we should write one program. Okay. You analyze what is the problem in that and what is the solution for that. That you guys should analyze. However, so much time I have, I guess. Right? So much I have. However, here, which is the program I should consider? Okay, listen, all of you. Here I will consider just observe here till where here only. Okay, so now I'll try to write class. I will give one more example for you guys. You guys should work on the second example. So please try to listen to this example carefully. Then only you can work on second example. Which program was taken for this? Okay, leave. I don't want to tell that now. Assume that there is one ATM class. Getting my point? And here I will try to declare integer type, account number and password. Inside this, what I will do, first I will try to void accept input. What I will accept? I'll accept the account number and password. In ATM machine already there will be one account number and password, and the second account number and password is that I am accepting it from user. Getting my point? Yes, no. So here what I'll do, these are the account, this is the account number which is already present inside ATM machine. Okay, same integer type, pass equals to, what is this? This is the account number which is already present inside ATM. That is password which is already present inside ATM. Anyways, inside ATM it will not be present. Somewhere in server it will be present. Then server connection will be there. All those things I don't want to take it now. Because some of you all of a sudden will ask, sir, how to connect to server, sir? Should I go to JDBC directly? That is the reason I'm not taking it now. That is the reason I'm telling you that inside ATM it will be stored. Okay, understand. Next what? Here I'll try to ask. What I will ask? Enter the account number. User will tell some account number. Okay, I want to read it. So what I will do? Scanner type yes equals to new. Next what? Equals to. What I should do? This is different. Yes or no? This is different. So what I will do here, I will try to store it in int ACNO. ACCNO is stored inside your ATM machine. ACNO is which user is giving now. Next, I'll say enter next. Here what I'll do? Next, int of here integer that is your password. Okay, next word. Now I've accepted the input and I'm having some data inside my where ATM machine itself. Now I want to validate it. Whether those details, whatever user have entered, is it matching or not? Yes or no? So now here I will try to write one more class. Which one? Sorry, not class, method. Void validate. Was same example done? No. Next, here what I should do? Now I'll just put one if condition. Okay. And anyways, which one I should compare now? If this account number which user have entered and this account number which is stored, if both are matching, which means I can tell that the user is valid user. Is it really true? Only by looking at account number will you tell that he is a valid user? We should also check password. So here I'll just say if ACC NO equals to ACNO or pass equals to PWD. Then I'll say system.out.print collect cache. Else I'll say what? Invalid details means he is an invalid user. That is the reason he is giving invalid details, right? If he is a valid user, he would have given valid details. So I'll directly say he is a invalid user. Next what? I'll close this method and I'll close this class. पता है? Wait कर रहे थे. Or if I write, will it work? It will work, but even only for account number matches. Then also it will tell that collect your cache. Password, it does not matter. Even if you give wrong password also, it will still work. So what we should do here? We should not use or over here. We should use and. Clear? Yes or no? Next word. Next what? If there is an ATM machine, definitely it comes under some branch only. Yes or no? So here I'll just say class. I should not say it here. For a reason. What is that reason? Later I'll say. Class branch. Inside this, what will be there? Branch, or I can also say, okay, branch only, let it be there. It comes under one branch. Inside this, what I should say? Void initiate. Branch should initiate the process. Yes or no? Here, what I'll say? ATM type A equals to new ATM. Yes. And then what? A dot. You are able to see the methods also. Still, you are struggling to answer. A dot validate. Yes. Close this. Close this. Next, what? Branch should come under what? But if I keep on doing like this, it will keep on continuing. So what I'll do? Inside this, what I'll do? Then now, whatever try, catch, whatever all these days we were using, what was the purpose of it? Try was for what purpose? If there is any input which is wrong from a user, means if there is any wrong input from a user, I should check that and respective message I wanted to give, that we will write it in catch block. In try block, what we will write? Wherever I am accepting the input from user, more or less, user only will give wrong input, right? If I am accepting something from user, there I'll be writing try. That I'll be writing inside try. Does not mean that, sir, scanner only I should take. Input, user input, I told you. So what you will think? What you will think? Scanner if I use, then only it is a user input. No. Though user is giving something, later once you go to Spring Framework and all, there what will happen is, you will be passing, you will be taking the details and you will create one object and you will pass that object. Getting my point? So be careful with respect to that. It does not mean that only scanner if I use, that is user input. Okay, not that way. If I am passing the second type of method, types of method you remember? Input is there but no output. Don't you think there also, that will also be considered as input only? Yes or no? So now with respect to this, assume that user will enter 11112222. So what output I will get? Flow, I believe all of you should be able to understand. From here, initiate, came here, from here, accept input and validate. So from there it will come here. This one first, I will ask the user enter the account number. User will enter 1111. And password it will ask user will enter 2222. Then it will go to validate. It will store that and it will go to validate. Now, what output it will give? Collect cash. That's it. Yes or no? Assume that second time user 2 will come. User 2 will give account number as 7777 and password as 2222 only you assume. So what output I should get? Invalid user. Previously, now my question is in try and catch, what we should write again? In try and catch, forget this one now. Normal question. In try, what I should write? In catch, what I should write? User inputs are more or less wherever you feel that. User may give some wrong input and because of which the program may break. Those risky statements, you will write it inside try. What I should write inside catch? Simplified message. Okay, one simplified message you will just write inside catch block. Whenever that type of exception occurs, then you display this particular message. Yes or no? Whatever we were doing in your exception handling, that is using try and catch, don't you think same thing we can also do it by using if and else? What we were doing in try and catch, same thing. Whenever exception occurs, display respective message. Here also we can do the same thing, right? Then what is the purpose of learning exception? Matlab, now some of you will be like, sir, you taught almost 3 days exception only, and now you are telling what is the purpose of learning exception. If that is the case, you should have told me before only, I would have not attended the class. Purpose is there, but what is that purpose, I'm asking? Whatever I was doing in try catch, don't you think I can also do it in if and else itself? What is the purpose of try catch, etc., etc., etc.? Everyone know the answer. Again, after me saying it, okay, this one, sir, I know. But think no. Now classes are done, right? It is end of the session almost. So you should be knowing. Huh. Nah. Nah. Purpose, major purpose you think.
If we don't know exception
All the
going
other
to occur or
answers will
not,
match. Sorry?
if we don't know exception is going to occur or not.
Same thing we can do here also, no? Or one of your friend is saying that we don't know whether exception is occurring or not. Here also we can do the same thing. I don't know whether user will give the proper input or not. If proper input is given, then this will work. If proper input is not given, then respective message I'll get. Yes or no? Whatever I was doing in try catch, here also I can do the same thing, more or less. Yes. What is the purpose of exception? Now, question is, exception occurred here. Using if and else, you displayed the respective message. If he is a wrong user, you will display invalid user. Can you pass that information to branch? Using if and else, can you pass that information to branch? Okay, now I am a user. Okay, I will enter the input as 77778888. Exception occurred. You displayed the message as invalid user. Is my branch aware of it? Pass it. Pass that information, no? That exception occurred. Pass it. Is it possible? 100% not possible. Using if and else, you can never do it. You can just display the message. But if you do it like this, sir, this is what is the purpose. No. What is the mistake if I do it like this? We cannot pass. What is the effect? If I write like this, what will be the problem? As I've already given one example, ATM example, branch example, you remember? Same program. Which means the card holder, if he is a thief or whoever he is going to get three chances in every ATM machine. In same day, 3 chances in one ATM, 3 chances in another, 3 chances in another. How much ever ATMs are there? For that matter, how many ATM machines are there in India? Can we even count? Everywhere he will keep getting three chances. By the time you catch him, he will be able to easily enter one password which is valid. Getting my point? Yes, no. Is that clear? Then how to do it, sir? That is the reason you should use exception. Now the question comes. Which type of exception this will be? I was expecting 1111, 2222, but user is giving 77778888. Which type of exception it will be? Expected it was. I was already knowing that you will say this. Yesterday I told you one statement, you guys remember? Yesterday while doing the session, I told you that tomorrow I will ask you one question. Yesterday or day before yesterday, if I'm not wrong. And I also told you, for sure you will give wrong answer. This is what. By default it was. Without even thinking within, just like this, you will give input mismatch exception. What I told you for input mismatch exception? Think. Different type of data. How will it be? Is there any mathematical operation? I'll tell that. But however, input mismatch, again, I'm telling you, that day also I told, and I also told you that you will give wrong answer and you have given. At least now try to understand. Again, you will commit the same mistake. You will commit. So please remember, input mismatch exception means what? This is the reason we ask you to type and execute. You will see, right, when the input mismatch exception is coming. You have not tried, so you don't know only when the input mismatch exception will occur. Right? So when input mismatch exception will occur, if you ask me, it will occur. I am expecting integer. but user is giving float or different type of data like ABCD will give. That you can say input mismatch. Why? Data type I am expecting and user giving is different. But here, can I say that it is input mismatch? Just because user is not entering valid password, is it an input mismatch exception? 100% no. 100% no it is. Getting my point? Then which exception it is? Arithmetic? Is it arithmetic? Is it array index out of bounds? Is it negative array size? Is it input mismatch? Is it SQL? Is it null pointer? Is it IO exception? Is it interrupted exception? Which else? File not found exception? Anyways, no. Then which one it is? It does not belong to any of the exceptions that we have seen so far. Getting my point? If user is entering a wrong password, is there any defined exception for that? 100% no. Then what we should do? What you should do is, all the existing exceptions are not matching for my condition. So what I will do? I'll just create my own exception. Getting my point? Why it is required? Here only example is there. Why it is required? Here there is one scenario. Here you handled it. Using if and else you handled. Now I want to pass that information to branch. Pass it. How will you pass? Not possible. Not possible. Okay, so what we can do? Create one exception. Which exception, sir? Is it arithmetic? Is there any mathematical operation here? No. Array index, array is only not there. Negative array size, array is not there. Input mismatch, that is not the scenario here. Integer only I'm getting and integer only I'm expecting. That is not the scenario. File not found, I'm not dealing with file. SQL, I'm not dealing with queries. IO exception, I'm not dealing with input output. Then what? Interrupted, no, I'm not using anything related to sleep or thread or something. That is also no. Null pointer, I'm not doing anywhere null. Then which one? We should create our own exception. But again, while creating our own exception, please, you should follow certain steps. Okay. Now, question is for you. Now, how to create our own exception? By extending. There is already one class called as. See, now question is quite simple. How to create? What is the question? How to create our own exception? Just like your arithmetic exception is there, just like your array index out of bounds exception is there, negative array size is there. Like that, I want to create my own exception because I know the process here. I know the concept. I want to create my own exception. How to create it? That is what we are going to see here now. But however, please listen carefully. What I am trying to say is, you should ultimately, if you want to call any particular exception as exception only, what is the basic criteria I have told? Don't you think all the exceptions, I clearly told you all the exceptions is having exception only as its parent? Yes or no? Am I right? If you are creating your own exception and if you want to call that as exception, then don't you think even that also should be the parent, I mean, child of exception class? Yes or no? So now, very first thing, if you want to create one class and make that class as a child class of exception class, first you should know what is there in exception class. What is there? Here, just observe. I'll just write this much. What is this? Anyways, this is an exception class within which there will be two methods. Okay. However, second method as of now I'll not be discussing. That is, I need not take the name also. Print stack trace. That I don't want as of now. Okay. Which one it is that I want? Here. This is your exception class. Inside this, what will be there? What will be there? Which method will be there? Sorry. Others? Anyone? By default, already there will be one method, inbuilt method, which is already available. That is an inbuilt class within which there is one inbuilt method also, which is the get message. What is the return type? Signature, complete signature of get message, you tell me. Huh? String. Then what I will return? If there is a return type as string, there should be something, right? एक्सेप्शन क्लास के अंदर मॉडिफाई कर सकते हैं क्या? वो तो इनबिल्ट है. क्लास के बाद बात करेंगे. उससे पहले कुछ पूछा था ना हम? क्या पूछा था? तुम क्या बोला था? पूरा कोशिश कर रहे हैं ना? बात करेंगे बाद में. ठीक है? However, here, normally, what will be the signature of this method if you ask me? Public string and what is the method name I told? Get message. Okay. Inside this, what will be there? If you have given some return type, definitely something should be returned. Yes or no? What exactly it is going to return? Why exactly James Persing have done like this? If you ask me, all the other exceptions respectively have created, okay, as a child exceptions. Then what is the purpose of returning some random message here? Getting my point? Anyways, you will override it. If I want to create my own exception also, what I will do, I will override it and I'll change it. You change it. As simple as that. Getting my point? So now I want to create my own exception. How can I create? Very first condition for creating, there are two steps that you should follow. First step is that you should create one class and make that class as a child class of which one? Exception class. Getting my point? If you want to create your own exception, very first step is create one class with proper name and make that class as a child class of exception class. What is the second step? Override that get message method. Override the message, override the method called as get message. How to do it? Here. Lack of space, please try to adjust. Okay. So now here, what name I will give for this class? Some name I should give, right? What name I will give? What? According to example, you tell me, no? Sorry? ATM exception. While giving the name, you should be careful. The reason is, if you remember, some exceptions you list out. List out some exceptions. Array index out of bounds exception. By looking at the name itself, clear message you are getting. What is the mistake that you have committed? Yes or no? Same way here also it should be. मतलब दे तो सकते, whatever you want you can give, but it should be in such a way easily understandable by looking at the exception itself. Because here we are doing, I mean to say only one person is coding everything. But if you go to company, different people. Whenever someone is coding on login part and there is one exception, login exception. Okay. And if you simply say front page exception. Okay. Front page exception also I can give. Login is nothing but front page. But other person, will he be able to understand that? No. Front page means he may get confused whether it is sign up page or login page. Okay. So you should give proper names in such a way. By looking at the names, you should understand. So here I will give what name? Invalid user exception. Getting my point? And then I'll try to make this as a child class. Next, what is the second step? First step is done. Second step, override the method. Which method? Get message method. Here, I'll try to write, string get. Can I do this? Return. Return what? One string you should return. What you will return? Whatever you are printing here, write directly. Don't print it. Don't print it here. Just return it here. What I will return? Invalid credentials. Got it? Invalid credentials is nothing but your login ID or password. Okay. Can I leave it like this? All of you. Can I leave it like this? Why? Visibility should not be decreased, else you will get an error there and then itself, saying that you are trying to assign the weaker access privileges. Was public करके एक error आई. So here what I should do? It should be public. Why? In parent class it is public. Can we reduce the visibility? No. If you want, you can increase it, but you can never reduce it. Clear? Next one. That much only. There it is that much. Can we write this class now? What I should write? Class code for this one. What is the code for this one? Class invalid user exception extends exception open bracket inside that public string get message open bracket close bracket this flower bracket inside that return invalid credential. Getting my point? How to use it, sir? How to use it? Now, here what I was doing, I want one message here. Whenever he is an invalid user, I want one message saying that invalid user. Now, I told you that you should not print it directly. Now, you think and tell me where that message is available now. Where that message is available. I should not print it directly. Where that message is available. Get message is there in exception also in invalid user exception also. Which one I should choose? Overridden method. So what I should do, I want to access this method now here. How can I do it? How? That you should tell, right? Very first step is, now if I want to access that get message method, I don't want to print directly. Now I have given it here. Sir, I will give it here, sir. I will print it directly here. Then what is the use of giving it there? Getting my point? So when already when you have given it there, directly don't do it. Take it from there itself. I want to access this method now. How can I access? Simple. Create an object of this. Call this method. Done. Yes. How to do it? Invalid user exception type ICE equals to new. Yes. I believe all of you have understood this. Any doubt here? Whatever the class name is there, I have just created a object of it. Next what? Simply I'll say ICE dot get message. Now that message has been returned. Whatever message you have written, that has been returned here. Next, what I should do? Simply leave it. What I should do? If something is being returned, what I should do? Is it getting printed at least? Then what I should do? Print. How can I print? Basics you will forget, guys. It's going to be difficult if that is the case. How many times I have told? If something is being returned, either you should store or you should print. Simply if I write IC.get message, you will get that message. What you are doing? Are you printing? You should print. You should write system.out.println IC.get message so that you will get an output saying invalid credentials. Now, I have handled this. Now I want to throw it. Now I want to give that information to branch. How can I do it? I just have to say throw ICE. Why I am doing this is because what you guys thought, if we use try catch, only then we should write throw. Not really. It is not that if you use try catch inside catch only I should write throw. No, nothing as such. Directly I have told else. If he is not a valid user, create one exception object and call that method, print that message and throw that. I am handling it first. Handling means what? Printing respective message and then throw it. Getting my point? So where this will be thrown to? To the caller method. Who is the caller method? Main. Wow. Branch. Branch, is it a method? Which is the method? From here, if I throw it, it will go to the caller method. Question is, who is the caller method? Who is calling this particular method? You check now. Who is calling this method? Your initiate method is calling that. Getting my chance? I mean, getting the point. So here, what will happen? Now this exception has been thrown to your initiate method. In your initiate method, is there any connections here? No. Connections are not there, so I will not handle it. I'll just duck it. Okay. However, if you are writing throw here, what I should say? Here I should also say throws invalid user exception. Clear? Yes or no? Now, anyways, this part is done. Next, what here? From here, you have thrown it here. Assume that I want to handle it here. How to handle it? Here, one exception is coming. For me to handle that, I'll just write try, and then here catch. Where I should catch? What I should catch now? What should be the reference? Can I write exception type E? Yes, you can write, because anyways that is a parent. However, I don't want to do that, means I'll just create invalid user exception type ICE, and then inside this what I'll do, whatever you want to do with that exception, you can do that. However, what I will do is I'll just try to say ICE dot get message plus in branch. Means what? Means what? What is this? That exception object has been thrown to here. Inside this, what I'm doing, I will print a message saying that invalid credentials in branch. Previously also I got invalid credentials only. Here also I will get invalid credentials only. So just to differentiate, what I'll print, whatever this invalid credentials, second time I'm printing, that is because of branch. Means that exception has been caught in branch. Because of branch, I'm going to get one specialized message. That is this one. From here also, if I want to throw it, how will I throw now? Inside your catch, just write throw IC. Okay, that will be thrown there. Do I have to handle it there? No, because there also connection is not there. But if I want to handle, just that you have to write try catch. However, as you are throwing the exception from here, sorry, you got it here. Okay, you can write here also as, anyways, you handled it here, so no need, not needed. Okay, you handled it here, right? If you have not handled, then what you should have done? Here, duck it. How we will duck? Just write throws and the respective type of exception. Clear? Any doubt in this? No? Yes or no? If I ask you to create, there is another scenario, okay, for which you guys should develop the code. Which is that scenario? If you ask me, the scenario is something like, assume that all of you know applying for DL, driving license. Okay, you are an applicant. Okay, you are an applicant, means there should be one class called as applicant class. And what is the variable that I'll consider? Integer type age. Age variable I'll consider. Same accept input, same validate method I'll write. In accept input, what I'll accept? Age I'll accept from user. What is your age? Enter. In validate, what I'll check? That's it. 3 cases. First one is if age is less than 18. Okay, then I should say you are directly for under 18 also we will not get DL. For above 65 also you will not get DL, assume 60 or 65, I'm not sure. For above 65 also you will not get DL, you assume. Okay, in that case, can I directly print one single message? I can print, but they will not understand the reason, right? Yes or no? So what I should do? I will accept the age, and if their age is less than 18, then I will print that you are underage. If their age is greater than 65, then I'll say you are overage. If they are not in between both, in else part I'll try to write proceed. Simply I'll just say proceed, or you can apply whatever. Getting my point? Now here, how many conditions I should write? 3. If, else if, else. In else you should write proceed. Getting my point? In if, what I'll write? What I will write? Age is less than 18. And in else if, greater than 65. In else, proceed. Okay. Now the question is, how many exceptions we should create? 2 exceptions we should create. Which are those? One is
Less than
underage
18.
exception. The other one is overage exception. How will you create that? Class overage exception extends exception and then public string and then what? Get message inside that. For overage exception, what I'll write? You are above 65, go and take rest. Simple message. Okay, return. You are above 65, please go and take rest. Close it. And if it is for underage exception, class underage exception extends exception. Inside that, what I should write? Directly inside class. Public string get message. Of course, some of you are familiar with @ override annotation, because of which you would have never written this by yourself. You just write get message, directly it will give an option @ override. If you put, it will take the signature and access modifiers by itself. Okay. However, if you write it by yourself, you should know first. Anyways, that will do its operation, that is there. But you should know, right? So, however, inside get message, what will I write? Return. Message you forget, no message, whatever you want, you can write respectively. Return you should write first, because return type is string. Return. Now you give a respective message. You are under 18, so you are not eligible to apply. Getting my point? Next what? Inside if he is under 18, here what I will do? If he is under 18, 3 conditions we have told, right? If he is under 18, something. If he is over 65, something. If he is in between, something. If he is under 18, what I should do here? Through what? Where is exception object? Means you will go in reverse way. First we will throw, sir, then we will create it, sir. That is the reason I gave option, right? What we should do here? Think, no. I just have to create one exception object. Which exception object? Underage exception type UAE equals to new underage exception, and then UAE dot get message system dot out dot println and then throw UAE. Close. In else if, what I should do? Create overage exception object and then print that get message return whatever data has been returned, that you print it, that is by using system.out.println OAE dot get message. You will print it and then throw OAE. So that will be thrown. In else, nothing will, right? Last condition, what I should write? Simple statement system.out.println, you can proceed. That part we are least bothered. But first two, very much important. Now with here, what you will write? Next. And here I should write throws underage exception, comma, overage exception. Getting my point? And then as you are throwing it from there, it will definitely come to caller method, that is here. Here I should write try. First thing. How many catch blocks? 2, 3. First one is specific, second one is specific, third one is generic. As I've already told you, in this one also I should have considered, but space issue. Okay, generic we should write at the end. I have already told you, because who knows, there might be some other exception also, which we could not analyze. As of now, by looking at the program, we'll feel that there won't be any other exception. Who knows if there is interrupted exception in between somewhere. I will accept the age and I will say thread dot sleep. Then if there is interrupted exception, anyways, that will not allow you to proceed. That is different. Or if there is array, or if there is arithmetic operation, anything, I'll try to divide the age by some number. Okay. And if that number is 0, how will it work? All those scenarios. So what you should do, give one generic block at the end. Before that, what I should do? Catch what? Underage exception type UAE, and again UAE dot get message in RTO. Here applicant will be there. Here RTO will be there. There you can just give launch applicant or launch RTO, whatever. And catch overage exception OA dot get message plus RTO. Getting my point? Is that clear? How to create custom exceptions? Means custom exceptions means what? Whatever is already available, which is inbuilt. I don't want to use that. I want to create my own. That is what we call it as custom exception. Clear? How to create it? Is that clear? Okay. So for today, I'll be stopping it here itself. Okay. I'll be stopping it here itself. I'll be continuing from tomorrow. However, stopping it does not mean the class is done. Okay. Stopping it does not mean that class is done. However, just to revise once quickly. Should I revise only exception, or from beginning should I do? I mean, if you are watching recordings or not, that will be the question. However, if I want to revise exception, what all we have done in your exception concept? At least what I have done, I am telling. Okay, whatever you are doing, you know. So what I have taught first is whether error and exception are same or not. When they are not same, definitely you should also give the differences. Which is which one? Which means what? Yes or no? The very first one is compile time error. Mistakes those occur during compilation time because of faulty usage of language. In the same way, other side, runtime error are those which occur during runtime because of faulty logic. And the third one, faulty inputs. That is nothing but your exception. Those three definitions I have given. And then why exception handling is important in today's world. Okay, if you don't handle it, many people who are using that application might get affected. Yes or no? It might be a huge money loss or any type of losses people may encounter. Yes or no? Because of which we should handle exceptions. Next what? Next. In C, how it will work? Directly, how many ways? Huh? In C, how it will work? In Java, how it will work? You should have clarity in that part. Very much important. You should have very good clarity. If you don't understand, you ask me again. But it is important. Why? Because if you include user default exception handler, what will happen? If you don't include, what will happen? All those things you should know. Next what? How exactly the process will go? For that, I have written one simple program. Okay, I have written one simple program wherein I was trying to divide two numbers. Yes, I was trying to divide two numbers wherein numerator and denominator. Denominator was 0. Yes, if it is a valid input, what will happen? If there is a invalid input, what will happen? That part also I have discussed yesterday. Yes, I mean in the beginning, not yesterday, in the beginning. Next what? If at all, if there is an invalid input, what will happen? Exception will occur. How exactly that exception will work, or what will inbuilt, I mean internally what will happen? That also I think I have explained. What will happen? Who will generate? I'll generate. Wherever exception occurred, immediately the control will go out of the program towards RTS, but it will not go empty-handed. Along with that, it will also carry the exception object. Who will create that? The method in which exception occurred, that method will create. Directly will it create exception object? No, first it will create one exception report using which it will try to create exception object. Yes, and then that object will be handed over to RTS. RTS will start checking, is there any user defined exception handler? From where it will start checking? In whichever line exception occurred, immediately from next line it will start checking. If it is there, control will go there and the program will terminate normally. If it is not there, then it will go to operating system. Default exception handler. Is there any day wherein exception object will reach system crash? In Java at least. Never. Getting my point? Next what? Same program. I mean, increased a few more steps. I mean, in between there might be other small programs for explaining something I would have considered. But however, after that, what I have done, I have written one program which was having almost in and around 4 exceptions. Yes. In that, what we discussed, if we directly don't give anything, then default exception handler. If there is no user defined exception handler, then control was going to default exception handler and it was giving. First time it was arithmetic exception, second time it was negative array size exception, and third time it was array index out of bounds exception. Fourth one, third one is only input mismatch. Fourth one is array index out of bounds, but third one I didn't give you an idea that it will occur. Okay, because I wanted to explain about generic catch block. That is the reason I didn't give you an idea. Simply 25, anyways, there won't be any exception, I'll proceed. Like that I have told. Okay, next what? Null point, fine. Next what? In that, if we give now, anyways, previously default exception handler was taking care. Now what I will do, I want user defined exception handler. The reason is connection was not getting terminated, if you remember. Default exception handler, if it is going and if connection is there, will it be terminated? No. So what I should do? I want that connection to be terminated. So what I will do? I will include one user defined exception handler. Yes. So because of which anyways connection will be terminated. But what will be the problem? I'll just give the messages invalid input. So what will be the problem? For every type of mistake that user is committing, it will give the same output. That is invalid input only. Okay. So what I will do later to overcome this problem? We can make use of multiple catch blocks. However, anyways, we are writing multiple catch blocks. That is fine. Can I write generic catch block at the top of all the other blocks? No. If you are keeping generic catch block, then that generic catch block should always be at the last of all the other, I mean bottom of all the other catch blocks. Getting my point? Else you will get a error. If you write exception at the top and all the other exceptions at the bottom, will it work? You will get an error saying that already this exception has been caught. Who will catch it? Exception only will catch it. Why? Because exception is the parent of all the other exceptions. Next what? Propagation. Means if there is a fun1, fun2, fun3, launch main, you remember? I have created one fun1 method within which all those statements were the division of number, and fun2 where I will call fun1, fun3 where I'll call fun2, main method where I'll call fun3. Now if at all if exception occurs in your fun1 and if there is no user defined exception handler, where will it go? Default exception handler, right? No? Others. Will it go to default exception handler directly? No. Then where it will go? To the caller method. Who was the caller method in our program? Fun2. Yes or fun2 only. It will go to fun2. From fun2 it will go to fun3. From fun3 it will go to main. Why it is going all these places? That was the caller method, fine. What it is doing? To check if there is any user defined exception handler. If it is there, it will stop there itself. If it is not there, it will continue till main. Even in main, if you give also, it is sufficient, it will stop. But if you don't give, clear? But directly will it go to default exception handler from fun1 itself? No. Clear? Next what? Different ways to handle an exception. First one is handling the exception. Second one is rethrowing the exception. Third one is ducking the exception. I believe by this time you should be having very good picture on when to use which one. When to use handling? Whenever, don't tell the same in interview. I'm telling again. When there is a connection, don't tell. Then interviewer will ask you one more question. What is this connection? Okay, then you should handle only if there is a connection. That kind of questions you will get. So you tell it in such a way if there is any risky statements. Getting my point? Because of which it may affect our application. Those kind of statements should be executed compulsorily. Then I will use handling the exception. Okay. Now, when to use rethrowing? Basically, rethrowing means what? Rethrowing the exception means, can I tell that first we will handle it and then I'll throw it? Yes. Next, when to use rethrowing?
To inform the caller method.
When we want to inform the caller method saying that exception occurred in my method, then I should use rethrowing. When should I duck it? What do you mean by ducking first? Passing the exception without handling it. Simply will you say in interview saying that sir leave it. Then ducking मतलब क्या है? Leave it. ऐसे ही बोलोगे. Interviewer भी वही पूछेगा. Ducking क्या होता है? ऐसे ही बोलोगे. So at least keep some sentences related to that, so that you need not buy it again and again. What is the statement there? Passing the exception without handling it. I'll not handle it. Why you will not handle? I don't care. Because there is no connection in my program. Getting my point? Next what? Next. 3 ways are done, and then hierarchy, I guess. Checked and unchecked I have explained. Checked means compiler will force you to handle and then you should proceed. Unchecked means once you get it means compiler will allow you to proceed ahead. And example for checked is thread.sleep. If someone asks you what is the exception or what is the example, then you can tell thread.sleep. You will get one exception during which time? Compilation time itself. I told you compiler will not allow you. Okay, so compiler will force you. You should handle, then only you can proceed. So which type of exception you will get in that case? Interrupted exception. Okay, next what? Stack overflow error means which is runtime error. There are two types of runtime errors. Which are those? There are two runtime errors basically, not two types. Two runtime errors. Which are those? Stack overflow is first one, and the second one is out of memory. Stack overflow, anyways, you can show because of logical mistake it will occur. Calling the same method from same method. Okay, that will lead to stack overflow error. But don't ask me to show out of memory error, which is not possible. If you want to check, fill your complete memory and then try that program. It will work. Okay, and the next what? LSP rules. LSP, that is Lisco substitution rules. What it says? It is not compulsory for an. I am keeping it short. If it is not compulsory for an overridden method in a child class to throw the same type of exception. Getting my point? Same exception. If you want, you can throw. If you don't want, you can leave. Next. If parent class is throwing one type of exception, child is throwing another type of exception, it is not permitted basically. Okay. However, no sir, I want to throw different type of exception. In what all conditions it is possible? In two conditions it is possible. First one is there should be a relationship between those exceptions being thrown. And the other scenario, and again, in that case, exception should be mentioned in parent class. Okay, and next one. Even though there is no user relationship, still you can throw different type of exceptions when both the exceptions belong to unchecked type of exception. Clear? Clear with that or not? Next, custom exception. Which are the steps? How will you create custom exception? First step is create one class and make that class as a child class of exception class. And second one, override the method called get message. That's it. And whatever message you want to print, you can just return it from there. Clear? I believe exception concept is clear for all of you. Any doubts? If you have doubts, first you try. Okay, first you should try. Some of you, it should not be in that scenario. It should not be in that scenario wherein you didn't even try. Directly you bought it to me. First you try. Then only you will get to know, right? If I tell also, for sure in some days you will forget it. But if you try, you got some error, it didn't work, and then you bring it to me. At least you will remember it for some time. Okay, is that clear? Fine, for today I'll be winding it up for now. Tomorrow we'll continue and I'll let you know other things. Okay. Online, any doubts?
Right now, no doubt, sir.
Great, then perfect. Thank you. Selenium class was also there, right?